Well, hello and welcome. This is FIA ETCR Electric Touring Car World Cup, live from Pau for round one, the race of France. Bienvenue, bonsoir. I'm Neil Cole and I'm super happy to bring you our first DHL Superfinals of the 2022 season, the debut event for this brand new World Cup. In the next hour, we will crown our very first King of the Weekend. These are the most powerful touring cars ever built and the world's first all-electric multi-brand touring car series. 500 kilowatts, which is equivalent to 670 brake horsepower, 960 newton meters of torque, cutting-edge technology, and quite a handful, especially here. Now, this street circuit has hosted racing since 1930. Nearly 100 years of heritage around the Beaumont Park in the heart of Pau. The very first ever French Grand Prix was held here, and what a circuit it is. 2.76 kilometers, 15 turns, almost never in a straight line. This clockwise track with its dramatic elevation has proved the perfect playground to watch these electric touring cars battling wheel to wheel so far this weekend. So now, Pull Fast provided us with possibly the most spectacular of the semi-finals we saw earlier today. So let's have a recap of semi-final for Pull Fast. Deep breath, tighten your seatbelts, strap them in, because we're going to launch into the start. Gone to amber, go green at any second. Green means go. An even start from the two in the middle. Norbert Mikelitz got away best. Jean-Carl Vernet slots in behind. Luca Filippi is a little slower off the line. Looks like Luca Filippi did not use power up off the line unless the data screen is not working. So let's see. Definite power up from both of the Hyundais to get off the line. Maybe Luca's keeping some of his to mount an attack up the hill. So there is a data link issue with Filippi, so we may not get a readout of how much power up he is deploying. So he's in stealth mode, basically. But Jean-Carl Vernet has been leapfrogged off the start by Norbert Mikelitz. Of course, Norbert Mikelitz did a lot of the testing work in the ETCR before the season even launched last year, but he did not compete in this championship last year, and so this is his rookie weekend in the FIA ETCR 2022. And this is some nice tight racing. As we can see, teammates and rivals, Mikelitz and Vernet, are very close together. And Luca Filippi, who of course competed all last season alongside the other returnees like Jean-Carl Vernet, is a very wily and quick driver. So everyone being very careful in that chicane to avoid clattering over the big curve that's on the inside of the chicane entry. Something that caused Jordi Genet a big problem yesterday. Here we are on board with Jean-Carl Vernet, checking his mirrors because he can see and feel that Luca Filippi is going to mount an attack. A defensive move there from Jean-Carl Vernet makes Luca Filippi bounce off the barrier, but a great overtake, incredible overtake from Luca Filippi. But there is a fight back from Jean-Carl Vernet. These two are side by side again as they come up into this left-hander up the hill. And Jean-Carl Vernet takes the position back. Superb racing from both of them. Clean, although there was a moment where Jean-Carl was being squeezed into the barrier, but nothing untoward at all. So as they continue around the halfway point of this race, the battling continues, but Luca Filippi remains at the back of the three. Wondering if he's maybe just waiting to mount another attack, or if he is dropping back. Maybe there's a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, Jean-Carl Vernet has really caught up to the back of Norbert Mikelitz. Maybe he's going to try the same kind of two very close together. Coming through that chicane, still avoiding that curve on the inside of the chicane entry. Absolutely nose to tail and down the straight. Norbert Mikulec is deploying power up to try and defend against Jean-Charles Vernet, and the power up deployed, but they've got 9 and 7 seconds of power up respectively left, with an entire lap still to go. So it could all be a game of strategy, and they're both using power up. Norbert Mikulec looking in his mirror to see where Jean-Charles is. And we can see that Luca Filippi has dropped way back, so perhaps he did pick up some damage in that exchange with Jean-Charles Vernet. Luca Filippi dropping off the back of the pack. He's now 6 seconds back from this leading pair. So it's the final sector of this race. And the two Hyundai Veloster N ETCRs demonstrating teamwork until the point that Jean-Charles thinks he might want to mount one last attack to try and claw back some points after his disqualification in the quarter-final yesterday. And remember, semi-final 2 sets up the final 3 points on the grid, DHL Super Final later on. So every position is absolutely crucial, as are the points. Jean-Charles Vernet getting closer again to Norbert. Both of these Hyundais have 4 seconds of power up left, now 3. 3 left for Mikulec. The checkered flag sees Norbert Mikulec take the semi-final 2 win. Jean-Charles Vernet started on pole, comes in second. But Luca Filippi comes through 10 seconds behind the winner. Let's see if we can speak to Norby in the cockpit of that car. Norby, it's Neil in television. Congratulations. If you can press the button, if you can hear me, tell us how that race was. It looked like you had a lot to do.
Hi Neil, good morning everyone. Yeah, it was all about the start, to be honest. I managed to have a good getaway, and then I mean the race was tough, but okay. So very happy about the result. Yeah, thanks to the team.
So we are all set for the cars to leave the pit lane for our first DHL Super Final of the season. FIA ETCR is go. Will we see our King of the Weekend crowned in this DHL Super Final or in DHL Super Final Furious later? But this is DHL Super Final Fast, the culmination of the weekend racing right the way back from qualifying yesterday morning through the quarterfinals, through this morning's semi-finals, and now we are at the DHL Super Final. Let's have a look at how the point... So overall, of the 12 drivers across both pools, Matthias Ekstrom leads with 60 points, Adrian Tombe is second with 52, Blomqvist with 49, Ascona with 42, Spengler with 41, Martin with 36, Michelitz with 33, Jean-Charles Vernet 30, Venturini 29, Jordi Genet 25, Checon 18, and Luca Filippi with 15. But big points available in this super final. The win gets you 40 points, so it is still wide open. And let's have a look at the grid. All 6 drivers racing together for the very first time. And it is an all Cupra e-racer, front row, pole position, Adrien Tombe. Then you have the second row of Maxime Martin and Norbert Michelitz. Let's meet the drivers in this DHL Super Final.
de la fête.
So look, breaking news, we should have a 6-car grid, but we only have a 5-car grid. Norbert Michelitz in the Hyundai Veloster N ETCR. Looks like he'll be starting from the pit lane, which is bad news. And we are go. Wow. Almost no warning, but all the cars are acting to get off the start line. The two Coopers from the front row retain the position, but there's a close battle behind between Jean-Carl Vernet and Luca Filippi and Maxime Martin. So Jean-Carl Vernet has shuffled down to the back of the group, although he looked like he was in the mix at the early stages of those first few corners. Contact there, Jean-Carl Vernet going for a push on the inside, which turns into the outside round this long left-hander up the hill into the right-hander of Beaumont, which Jean-Carl Vernet told me is one of his favourite spots of this entire circuit. Can he use that to his advantage to get around? Now remember, this is 8-lap final. 300 kilowatts of standard power plus 40 seconds of power up to the maximum 500 kilowatts to deploy as they wish throughout the 8 laps. So it's all about strategy. Michelitz has joined from the pit lane yet. It does not look like he has, so disaster for Hyundai Motorsport N. Perhaps he has left the pit lane and is on his way to try and catch up to the back of the pack, but we've yet to find out exactly what the problem was with the car. As soon as I hear, I will tell you. Meanwhile, the two Romeo Ferraris Giulia ETCRs look like they're starting to enter a battle with each other. And Luca Filippi, who's moved up one place already, looks like he is keen to be upwardly mobile to get past Tom Blomqvist. But currently this DHL Superfinal being led by two of the rookies to ETCR this season, with Luca Filippi, who did the full season for Romeo Ferraris last year, in 3rd place. Maxime Martin feeling the heat of Jean-Carl Vernet behind him. Big clattering over the curbs there. And as you can see, bright sunshine now here in Po, which means that the asphalt will be warming up and the grip level will be changing. These cars often sideways through the corners on these excellent Goodyear all-weather standard tires that they all share. So Jean-Carl Vernet bringing up the back of the pack. At the end of the 2nd lap, they're still in formation. So here we have Norbert Michelitz. Apparently there was a disaster. That looked like there was contact at the back with Jean-Carl Vernet passing Luca Filippi, which has put Luca Filippi in the barrier. That's a heavy impact, big spin and impact. Luca looks like he's okay. And Norbert Michelitz has to gingerly creep past the stricken Romeo Ferraris Giulia ETCR. That is a disaster for the team, and what a disaster for Luca Filippi. It looked like the most innocuous of contacts, but if it was front wheel on rear wheel, that's where all the power comes from. Let's have a look again. So Jean-Carl Vernet squeezes past. High-speed impacts into the barrier. So luckily a lot of the speed was shaved off in the spin, but that is quite a heavy impact there for Luca Filippi. We currently have a yellow flag in Sector 1. Let's hope that the car is safely out of the racing line as we are on our 4th lap. Let's just see if we can have a quick word. Giovanni, can you hear me? I was going to speak to Giovanni Venturini, who will be sharing that car later, but he's not available to speak right now. Some very worried faces here in the hot zone, looking at that stricken Romeo Ferraris, because of course...
Extremely slowly and keeping to the extreme left.
So just hearing from race director there, Lisa Crampton, that the race can continue, but to go very slowly and keep to the extreme left in turn 3. So very good that we're able to keep racing as long as the drivers make sure they are safe as they go past Luca Filippi's car. So let's focus on the racing, which continues. Adrien Tambay continues to lead from Tom Blomqvist, his teammate in the Cupra. Jean-Carl Vernet has managed to get himself up into the podium position in 3rd after that ever so slight and innocuous contact with Luca Filippi spun the car out. We are on board with Adrien Tambay. His first weekend in the car, but he's been incredibly impressive. Straight out of the box. And of course, the Cupra EKS team's winners last year with Matthias Ekstrom. So this is where they have to go slow. Yellow flags waving. Hopefully, if they can lift and coast, they'll save some battery to make sure they are cleanly through. And there we go. That's good to see. Luca Filippi is now safe to get out of the car with one full lap for the cars to go past. Meanwhile, no, he's being told by the marshals to stay in the car. Meanwhile, out front, Norbert Michelis had used 20 seconds of his power-up to try and catch up to the back of the 4 cars that are now ahead of him. Adrien Tambay has 20 seconds of power-up left. So Luca Filippi safely out of the car. That's a big relief, but the car has to stay there because it will be needed to be craned out onto the back of a flatbed truck to be driven off the track. So at the moment, the car has to stay there. So suddenly, Pauville Grand Prix circuit has a new chicane in the shape of a Romeo Ferraris Giulia ETCR for the cars to navigate slowly and carefully in turn 3. It's not ideal, but at least we can continue to race. This is lap 6. So we have got 2.5 laps still to go of the DHL Super Final for the fast pool. And remember, one of the crucial things about this entire race format is these cars are shared. So not only do you want to have the best possible race, but your teammate who'll be jumping in the same car in DHL Super Final Furious later needs you to bring it home in one piece. So that is a big worry for the Romeo Ferraris team, and specifically for Giovanni Venturini. Big amount of dirt kicked up, clattering over those curbs in the Foch chicane, and now the right-hand open hairpin of Buisson, and then down through this twisty section, turn 10 into turn 11, which is called descente because they descend. Then the chicane de croisement, the crossing chicane right here, avoiding that massive curb on the inside, and then the last few kinks of 13, 14, 15 to cross the start-finish straight. And now we will be on lap 7, and as you can see, Jean-Carl Vernet in a battle with Maxime Martin. Martin has retaken 3rd position from Jean-Carl Vernet. A great overtake there from Maxime Martin, employing power-up to make sure he can get past the Hyundai of Jean-Carl Vernet. So Jean-Carl Vernet has to do the work all over again. So nice and slowly through the stricken car chicane. But Adrien Tambay continues to stretch a lead out front, while Max Martin starts to catch up to the back of Tom Blomqvist. So 8 seconds of power up left for Maxime Martin. Is he going to be able to employ it to get past Tom Blomqvist? We've seen very different strategies over the course of the weekend when it comes to deploying the power-ups. Sometimes using it for extra power to get more speed down the hills, but then of course you're compromising your braking with these super fast but heavy, wide cars. Not particularly physical to drive, but very fast. So here we go. An overtake attempt from Maxime Martin on Tom Blomqvist. But doesn't quite commit to be able to get past him. And here they start their go slow again into turn 3 as we're on our final lap. All cars are now going to be reset almost like a safety car, and now they can launch again back up to full speed, full throttle up the hill. Adrien Tambay looks like he's got this completely in the bag, but there's still a battle for second between Maxime Martin and Tom Blomqvist. Jean-Carl Vernet pretty steady in 4th. Still no sign of Norbert Michelitz catching up to the back of the pack after his problem starting the car to get it to the grid. We need to find out what the problem was, whether it was an electrical problem or a software issue to get that car started. But it seems to be up to speed, which is a good sign. So as long as they've ironed out whatever the start problem was for Norby, the car should be good for Kevin Chekon in DHL Super Final Furious coming up later. So down through the crossing chicane, last few corners before they cross the finish line and take the checkered flag. And it is a win. The first win of the season goes to Adrien Tambay. Tom Blomqvist crosses the line in 2nd, Maxime Martin in 3rd, Jean-Carl Vernet in 4th, and if we keep an eye on track, we should see Norby Michelitz cross the line in 5th, but of course Luca Filippi will not cross the finish line.
Congratulations, guys. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Tom. Brilliant job. What a race. Good job.
So let's see if we can speak to Adrien Tambay, a French driver winning at home in France. There were 2 French drivers in this race, and it was Adrien Tambay who won. Let's see if we can speak to him. Adrien, this is Neil Cole in television. Congratulations, and can you tell us exactly how that race was for you, please, if you press the button?
Hey, what a good race, what a good race. I was a bit scared, Alpha on the... I hope the guy is fine. I tried to put as much... Tom actually put a bit at the beginning of the race, but then I picked up without taking any risk. I love this plate.
Well, I can tell you that Luca Filippi got out of the car okay, so that's good news, but thank you for caring about that. So, superb reaction there from Adrien Tambay, who is, of course, a French driver winning at home in France. It's like the perfect weekend for him. And the perfect super final fast for the Cupra team with a 1-2 across the finishing line. Let's see if I can speak to Xavi. I'll speak to Xavi Serra. Xavi, first of all, congratulations. That could not have gone better, I think, for you guys, the Cupra 1-2, especially for Adrien, French driver, French track. Perfect weekend, really.
Yeah, perfect weekend for this fast pool. We are super satisfied, 1 and 2. Adrien here in home place. Super happy. Happy to see as well Luca is unharmed. I hope the Romeo Ferrari guys can make it on time to have this car back. We should be all on track soon. And yeah, just highlight the superb job of Tom as well. He managed very well. He got threatened by 2 or 3 different opponents, different strategies at different times. So brilliant race from Tom. Congratulations to him as well.
Yeah, very impressive. Now, of course, the incident didn't involve any of your cars, but from your perspective, it looked like it was wheel on wheel, which is almost the worst kind of contact here because of so much power in the rear wheels. Is that? Do you think that's right?
Yeah, that's right. The thing is that this track is very narrow, and you should give room to the other cars as well. So it's tricky. This racing incident were not that clear, but maybe there was not room enough. Difficult to judge.
Okay, but we have to do it all over again for the super final with your Furious drivers. What's the strategy for them now that you've learned what you've learned from 8 laps on this circuit?
Well, if Matthias gets a good getaway, so we'll try to win the race on pure pace and just defending on power up, and Jordi try to carve his way up.
Gracias. Thank you very much, Xavi. So that's Xavi Serra from Team Cupra
Adrian,
EKS.
What a feeling.
Let's see if we can have a word with our winning driver, Adrien Tambay, who is down in the pit lane. Okay, no, maybe not.
A winner for you this weekend. Home surface, home track, home driver. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it could have not been starting better.
Is there anyone from
Very
Hyundai
emotional at the
Hot Tub?
moment. First thing is to thank the team because they gave me the right tool to do it, and the guys will recognize themselves. Xavi, everybody in the team, Matthias. I mean, I have a lot of emotion at the moment. It's been a long time that I have not been on a international series, and first race back in, first win, so yeah, amazing.
Good feelings for the season ahead then.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. To start it like this just give me the good confidence, and now keeping our head down again, a bit of celebration tonight, and go back to the wife, and that's it.
Next round, Turkey.
Yeah, 2 weeks, it's going to be short. I've never driven there. It's a new place for me, but I'm looking forward now. I feel at home with the car, and I'm sure that we can repeat some kind of performance like that.
So, Adrien Tambay, it's ominous for the rest of the field for the season ahead, and also for the DHL Super Final Furious a bit later, because that car that just won that race will be driven off from pole position by Matthias Ekstrom when we race again in DHL Super Final Furious. So, one super final down, one to go. And we promised you dramatic wheel-to-wheel action and overtaking. And that's exactly what we've seen. Now, Luca Filippi's car there was very heavily damaged in the rear by that impact with the barrier after the slight contact. And you can see just how much damage has been done. So that car will unfortunately not be available to take part in DHL Super Final Furious. So Giovanni Venturini will not be able to take his place on the grid. So there will be a 5-car race for Pool Furious DHL Super Final. Now let's have a look at how the points stand now coming into this weekend. Remember, points are gathered every step of the way, from qualifying through the semi-finals right the way through. So these are the points before we just saw Adrien Tambay's result. So he is in the lead. Blomqvist, Ekstrom, Martin, Vernet, Michelitz, Ascona, Spengler, Venturini, Genet, Filippi and Chacon. So taking into account that Tambay now has 132 points, it is all down to Matthias Ekstrom, who will start this race from pole position in the same car that was being driven by Adrien Tambay to victory in Pool Fast. So apart from Giovanni Venturini, who exactly is in Pool Furious? Well, let's have a look. So those are our drivers, these are our cars, and this is the grid for the final race of the first weekend of FIA ETCR. Let's have a look at how the grid lines up. And of course, there is a gap in the second row where we should have the Romeo Ferraris Giulia of Giovanni Venturini, but sadly the car is too damaged in the rear end. This is the grid. Matthias Ekstrom on pole position. Bruno Spengler, a very old rival in DTM days. Then Ascona, no Venturini next to Mikel Ascona, so he has a little bit of clean air alongside him. Then Jordi Genet and Kevin Chekon, a rookie in P6 and a veteran in P5. So as we can see, a 5-car DHL Super Final, and we're just 30 seconds away from the launch off the line. And this should be fascinating because Mikel Ascona and Matthias Ekstrom spent all last season not racing each other because they were in the same team, but Mikel Ascona has defected to Hyundai Motorsport N, while Matthias Ekstrom is still with the Cupra EKS team. There's Bruno Spengler, an old rival of Matthias's from the DTM days. It's a fascinating matchup here. Let's wait for it to go green in 10 seconds, 8 seconds. Launching off the line, who will deploy power up straight off the line to go for the full 500 kilowatts? Here we go. All the lights are on, and we go green. Superb start. The front 3 drivers using their power up to get off the line as neatly as possible. A very impressive move there on the outside from Mikel Ascona to try and get alongside Bruno Spengler, but Matthias Ekstrom has pulled away out front. Kevin Chekon seems to be pulling up alongside Jordi Genet, so he has taken an overtake. Kevin Chekon, the rookie, has overtaken Jordi Genet, so that means that the 2 Hyundai Veloster N ETCRs are now in 3rd and 4th. Bruno Spengler employing his power up to try and keep up to the rear bumper of Matthias Ekstrom. Matthias Ekstrom still has 31 seconds of power up left. Clattering over the curbs. So this superb Pauville circuit, as the sun starts to set, the visibility will be tricky through the trees, and the temperature, which was warmer on the asphalt in the baking sun, will be starting to cool down. So grip levels will be changing all the time. Power-ups being deployed by the front 3 there, and Mikel Ascona is going for an overtaking move. Power-up employed, and perfect overtake there from Mikel Ascona, who puts himself up into 2nd place, overtaking Bruno Spengler. So now Mikel Ascona can really start to attack Matthias Ekstrom out front, and we can see the battle that we didn't get to see all of last year, which is Ekstrom versus Ascona. The Hyundai Veloster N ETCR is just 0.6 of a second behind the Cupra E-Racer. And that's the view from Bruno Spengler's Romeo Ferraris. Kevin Chekon and Jordi Genet are still at the back of the pack, but Genet is just over 4 seconds back. So coming down that long right-hander. Such a tricky circuit here because the grip levels change all the time. These are the roads that the cars and the buses use all year round, so it's not your pristine circuit tarmac. So that's the Beaumont section. And they come through the chicane and weave their way down the hill, the descent. And starting to open up a little bit of a gap behind Ascona, because Ascona is doing everything he can with power up to attack Matthias Ekstrom, but Matthias Ekstrom is strategically deploying power up at the same time to defend. So that is what one of the key facets of FIA ETCR is, raising the 300 kilowatts to 500 with the flick of the paddle on the right of the steering wheel. But Mikel Ascona is not going to let Matthias Ekstrom run away with this. Matthias Ekstrom has 22 seconds left. Mikel Ascona has 20 seconds of power up left. So as things stand, Matthias Ekström has to just keep a little bit more in the pocket to keep Mikel Ascona behind. Matthias Ekström, of course, last year's champion, double DTM champion, World Rallycross champion, but I can tell you that Mikel Ascona won a race in WTCR earlier today, so he has had a lot of track time here to learn this circuit, so they have very different advantages right now. So back down the hill on the third lap of 8. And very evenly matched in terms of power-up usage. Matthias Ekström has 21 seconds, 20, 19, 18. And Mikel Ascona has 16 seconds of power-up left. He used a lot through that kink chicane section to hit lap 4 to get himself closer to Matthias Ekström, but now there's 18 seconds of power-up left for Matthias Ekström, 16 left for Mikel Ascona. So strategically, Matthias is keeping something. And look, there's a move. Matthias Ekström's rear-view mirrors are absolutely full of Mikel Ascona's Hyundai. And he's getting closer and closer all the time. Up the hill, both of them deploying power-ups. Mikel Ascona getting as close as he can to the rear. If Matthias Ekström wins this, he will be crowned King of the Weekend. But Mikel Ascona has his eyes on the prize as well. So this is the battle to watch. The battle for the race win around Beaumont Park in Pau-Ville. Mikel Ascona, of course, the 2019 WTCR FIA World Touring Car Cup winner, 2018 TCR Europe champion, an absolute weapon in a car. Anything he gets into, he's fast. And when he appeared out of nowhere, he impressed everybody. And he is absolutely keeping Matthias Ekström honest. Matthias Ekström has 10 seconds of power-up left. Mikel Ascona has 11. So now suddenly there is advantage, 1 second's worth of power-up to Mikel Ascona, and he is right on his tail as they come up through the right-hander of turn 2. Matthias Ekström leading from Mikel Ascona. And they're about to take the open hairpin left of turn 3, which is where Luca Filippi had that heavy collision with the wall earlier. A wide line there from Matthias Ekström, taking a very unusual defensive line. Looking in his rearview mirror, he can see and he can feel that Mikel Ascona is there, getting closer and closer. And Mikel Ascona has 3 more seconds of power-up left as they come round Beaumont Bend at the top of the park. And now it's all about gravity as they start to come down the hill. That's the Fox chicane. Now it's the right-hander of turn 8. And then the open hairpin right of Buisson. Oh, a lock up there for Mikel Ascona. He locked up the front right there. A little bit of overspeed, late braking into that corner. Mikel Ascona still has 11 seconds of power-up left. Matthias Ekström is deploying power-up to try and stretch a gap ahead of Mikel Ascona. But Mikel Ascona is still there. Mikel Ascona still has 3 laps before he needs to really start his attack. Matthias Ekström only has 6 seconds of power-up left. This is going to go right down to the wire. A very shrewd power-up deployment from Mikel Ascona. We're on board with him. He looks so calm behind the wheel. Both he and Matthias Ekström famously very measured behind the wheel. All 960 Newton meters of torque, single transmission, so there's no clutch, just full power on the accelerator pedal. So they are doing left foot braking non-stop around this twisty circuit. So a little dab of power up there from Mikel Ascona. He's down to 10 seconds left. Matthias Ekström has 6 seconds of power up left. And here we can see the view through the cockpit of Mikel Ascona. That's the pit wall, everyone watching on. So half of the team, the rest of the team are here in the hot zone, monitoring everything and speaking to the driver in the cockpit, helping with the strategy, helping with the power-up, because here in the hot zone is the only place where everybody can see who's got how much power-up left and when they're deploying it. So Matthias Ekstrom deploys power up. He's down to 4 seconds left. Michele Ascona has 9 seconds of power up left. This is a very high-speed game of chess right now. And Matthias Ekstrom cannot stretch away. And once again, they come through turn 2, up this little right-hand kink into turn 3. 3 seconds of power up left for Matthias Ekstrom, 7 seconds left for Michele Ascona. With just 1.5 laps left to go. Is that enough in the bag for Michele Ascona to mount an attack during the closing stages of this, the first DHL Super Final Furious of the season? Oh, there was a glancing blow off the Armco there. That will have slowed Matthias down by a few tenths of a second. So that means that Michele Ascona can smell blood. A very rare mistake there. The grip in those tires must be starting to go. Michele Ascona is going to go for a move. Goes on the outside. Tries to throw the dummy to come back on the inside. Maybe he'll slingshot through into the outside of this. Neither of them using power-ups. Now Michele Ascona starts the power-up down this section where he really can build up some speed and momentum. And that will carry extra speed down the straight. He looks for a gap. There is no gap, so he tucks back in behind. This is the final lap. And I can tell you that Matthias Ekstrom has 2 seconds of power-up left, but Michele Ascona has 6 seconds left. That may well be enough for him to be able to... He's just deployed 2 seconds of power-up, which has given him an extra boost up the hill. And now he's got to try and make a move. Getting so close. Putting pressure on Matthias Ekstrom. We saw Matthias make a mistake. Will he make another one under pressure? It's a big move from Michele Ascona around the outside to get the undercut on the inside. These wide cars, so hard to get the undercut. 2 seconds of power up left for Matthias Ekstrom. 4 seconds left for Michele Ascona. Michele Ascona hot on the heels of Matthias Ekstrom. This is the last sector of this race. Going through the chicane again. Michele Ascona getting closer and closer. You can see when Matthias Ekstrom brakes. Again, he looks at the outside, looks at the inside for an undercut. 2 seconds of power up left for Matthias Ekstrom, 4 seconds for Michele Ascona. And this is the point at which Michele Ascona started to deploy the power up here after this chicane down the hill. And he does so, a dab of power up. Some more power up from Ascona. Ascona, they've both used all their power ups. Will it be a last crossing the finish line overtake move? Matthias Ekstrom defends. Matthias Ekstrom wins. Michele Ascona is a very close second. Bruno Spengler, very impressive on his debut weekend, as is Kevin Chacon in 4th. And Jordi Genet comes home in 5th. Big celebrations for the Cooper team, because that is 2 DHL Super Final wins in the same car. Adrien Tambay and then Matthias Ekstrom. Matthias Ekstrom, it's Neil in television. Congratulations. But you didn't have it your own way. Michele Ascona did not make it easy for you.
Hi Neil, I couldn't hear all of it. I was cheering with the team, but had a great weekend. Till we enjoy.
Well, apologies there for a little bit of breakup in the radio. Let's see if we can speak to Xavi Serra. Xavi, speaking to you again, to congratulate you again on a win. That's 2 DHL Super Final wins, but in that occasion, Michele Ascona really didn't make it easy for Matthias.
Well, it was a tough one. Miguel's pace was really astonishing, so Matthias looked in control, but towards the final 2 laps, I think we were suffering a bit. I think he even brushed the wall or hit the wall, so that was a heartbreaking moment. Anyway, we managed to win, and if I'm not wrong, that's a full podium lockout. We have to review all the results. And yeah, I want to use this opportunity to thank all the people that make this possible at Cupra, EKS, drivers, everybody. That all credit for them. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Xavi Serra, gracias, and congratulations. Yes, subject to approval by the stewards, that should be a lockout on the podium for Cupra EKS. Let's see if we can have a word. Luca Filippi, can you hear me? Luca Filippi is here in the hot zone. Luca, of course, a disappointment for you and the team with what happened to your car earlier, but talk a little bit for now, if you can, about Bruno Spengler and the job he did to bring home that car in third place.
Yeah, superb job from Bruno the whole weekend. So yeah, I think he did very well. He had a good pace, probably extra Ascona. This weekend they had a little bit more than us, but I think Bruno did a perfect job all weekend. You know, it's not an easy place for anybody. The circuit, it was a new weekend, a new format for him, new car, new championship. So he was happy over the radio, and I think he should.
Grazie mille. Thank you, Luca, and better luck next time.
Thank you.
D'ailleurs, que ce soit la commune de La Cortèze avec 4 marques présents participées par bien entendu, Edifice du côté du village des mobilités électriques, tous les autres acteurs qui les entouraient d'ailleurs pour faire de cet espace de démonstration de à l'application au bronzage Merci également aux caméras.
So the Hyundai Veloster ETCR of Mikel Ascona is staying in the pit lane, and that is because the podium, which happens at the start gate, is going to be occupied by Cupras. Confirmation then that Matthias Ekstrom won the DHL Superfinal Furious from Mikel Ascona, Bruno Spengler in third, Kevin Chacon in fourth, Jordi Genet on a recovery drive after his accident yesterday in fifth. And that is how it leaves the points. 100 points for Matthias Ekstrom. Mikel Ascona with 72. And remember, these are series points, so this will mount up during the course of the season. Bruno Spengler in third with 61, Jordi Genet with 35, Kevin Chacon with 33. And as you can see, the cars are making their way to the podium to celebrate the results. Xavi Serra, who's left the hot zone, on his way. And of course, it's a new team operation. This EKS are prepping the cars for Cupra this season. EKS, of course, being the abbreviation of one Matthias Ekstrom. Let's have a look back at the action from DHL Superfinal Pool Furious. And that was the point at which Mikel Ascona made his presence felt, and Kevin Chacon went a little wide. Bruno Spengler in the thick of the battle early doors in this race. And then it was a straight battle as Kevin Chacon dropped back. Jordi Genet fighting with him. A brilliant battle there between Chacon and Genet. Kevin Chacon making that move stick and staying there for the rest of the race. Meanwhile, unable to make the move stick with a lock-up there was Mikel Ascona. And this is how they carried on fighting for the rest of the race. What a brilliant battle between these two. And it must feel really good for them after a season of not fighting each other. That was the rare mistake for Matthias Ekstrom, starting to lose grip in the tyres. Because, of course, this is the first time that these drivers have done 8 full laps. Semi-finals were 3 laps. And that's what it means to the team to bring home the victory. And a wink and a thumbs up from Matthias Ekstrom. So all of the team personnel, Adrien Tambay in France. French driver standing, waiting for instructions for the podium ceremony to begin. And of course, because we are about to crown the king of the weekend, there will be a crown. So that is how the points end up. Mattias Ekström comes away as king of the weekend because he got 100 points. A century for Mattias Ekström. Adrian Tambay with 92. Tom Blomqvist with 79. Mikel Ascona with 72. So it's tight at the top. Bruno Spengler with 61. So a lot of the rookies, there's Blomqvist, Ascona, Spengler, Martin, all in the top 6. But it was Ekström who won. Let's see if we can have a word with Adrian Tambay, who is second on our podium this weekend.
Adrian, incredible driving this weekend, incredible weekend for Cooper at EKS.
Yeah, amazing at the end of the day. I think Matthias played with our hearts. It was very tight, and yeah, the whole team did an amazing job. And to be 1, 2, 3 on the podium, and he as the king of the weekend is fantastic to start the season.
So we saw Mattias Ekström getting on the roof of the car for a traditional roof of the car celebration, and now a team bouncing hug. And here comes Adrian Tambay to congratulate the person that he shared the car with, but who could have stolen King of the Weekend from him, because Adrian Tambay was still had a shout to be King of the Weekend. But Mattias Ekström is about to take off his lid, take off the balaclava. Let's see if we can hear from him in a moment before we get to the podium.
Mattias, you're proving unstoppable on the streets of Po. Incredible opening weekend of the season.
Yeah, it was very nice. I have to say it was a big battle with Mikel. He had better pace from the middle of the race to the end, so it was a pretty hard battle to not do any mistakes. I had a little one in the fast left right-hander, but tires were getting hot and I saw he had an edge, but in the end we won, and that's what counts. And so happy with this team, with Cooper and EKS, the cooperation with all the drivers, Tom and Adrian joining us. I think it's a dream result for a new team like we are now. So be 1, 2, 3 is, yeah, it's great. But I also know a season is long, so you can celebrate for a short moment, but then it's back to work tomorrow.
Yeah, back to work in 2 weeks as well in this car in Istanbul.
Yeah, I mean, I will enjoy this now. I mean, beautiful track, awesome organization here, and my first time in Po, and I couldn't be more proud. We managed to do a very good lap in qualifying. That was the base for the weekend. And then had 2 good heat, the quarterfinal and the semi-final. And now again a good final, but we need to improve because the others are really hunting us, and it's enjoyable to be in front, but it's hard work.
We were checking you. You were looking in the rear-view mirror there. Those steely Spanish eyes were trying to hunt you down.
Yeah, I mean, I know Mikel. We were teammates last year sharing the car, so we shared so much knowledge last year. So I know to try and keep him under control, you need to be absolutely perfect. So very impressive drive from him, and also from Tom and Adrian. I couldn't say more enough. And Jordi had a rough weekend, but I'm sure he will bounce back.
Very gracious and pragmatic words there.